Alright, you already know what time it is, but first and foremost, Merry Christmas everybody. By the time I upload this video, it is like Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. So, I hope everyone's having a blessed holiday season. Just know, with this video, I really tried my hardest. I really didn't have the time I wanted to put into this video like I did with the other two. I've really been trying my hardest. Like, the whole month of December, I have just been busy. So, if it looks half-assed or like just not enough effort into it, I apologize in advance. I really just wanted to get this out quick because I know a lot of people have been waiting on it. So, yeah, I just went through the first top 6 prospects. I mean, these are the guys that are going to go in the first to like second round anyways. Everyone below that is third and like lower. Now, before we begin, let me just give a short disclaimer I feel like I always have to give. I am not a professional. This is all strictly my opinion based off of my own research. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, because I always have like 1 or 2 people comment down below, oh, you're a fucking idiot. Well, yes, I am. I'm an idiot with a microphone who loves expressing his opinion, and I'm really glad I have people who do enjoy what I do. If you enjoy it, I really do appreciate you, and if you don't, I still appreciate you for at least giving me a chance. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Now, what better way to start this list than Travis Hunter? Oh, there's so many things to say about Travis, but you know what? I'm just gonna skip over this one. Look, it's obvious. It's obvious what I'm gonna say about him. I think there's plenty. If you haven't seen my Heisman video, you already know what I'm going to say. So to save you 3 to 4 minutes of me glazing a man standing up and doing tricks Olympic style over it like I'm Simone fucking Biles, I'm just gonna move on to the other guys. I mean, we can all agree Hunter's the best wide receiver here if he doesn't go in as a corner. He's going top 3, and nothing I say really matters. So yeah, he's gonna make any team happy. Nothing else really needs to be said. On to the next. Alright, now we have Luther Burton III. Now that's going to be a badass name on a jersey. Anyways, let's talk about Burton real quick. So, to me, another Lamborghini in a trailer park type situation. I mean, it's no secret. Missouri's not that great of a team. They're definitely better than, I guess, Oklahoma State. When I compared Aldi Gordon being a Lamborghini over there. They're definitely a lot better, but I do think they don't target him as much as he really should be getting. I don't think our quarterback's that great. I think he's just barely above average. I think he's in an okay system. I mean, they win games. They're a winnable team. They play okay competition, but I don't think they're really that great. So his down here really is not surprising to me, but even with that, he's performed well in most of his games this year against great defenses, especially last year. He had some games that really just made my jaw drop. This year, he's played South Carolina with 8 receptions, 69 yards. Then he played A&M with 7 recorded for 82 yards. And last year, one of his best games against LSU with 149 yards for 11 receptions. To me, Burton serves as like a multi-role receiver, if that even makes sense. I mean, he's someone who can really just do about really all of it. I mean, Missouri, when they do play him last year, I noticed they definitely played him really more as a deep threat option. Someone who's going to go downfield. Amazing speed. Someone's going to outrun the corner. I'm not saying he can outrun every corner, but normally, like against lower ranked competition, he always wins these matchups, and he's going to make a big ass catch. Or like this year, it seems like they have him playing slot a lot more, and he'll just be a giant yards after catch player. Given he's on the smaller side, being only 5'11", but he still has a lot of great tools that would just make you want him as your guy. Like for starters, the dude is a fucking athlete. I mean, watch him. The vertical he could just jump to when needed is almost as impressive as his hands, which to me it looks like he did them in damn glue. And when he's not making big catches down the field, he's a great yards after catch receiver, as I just mentioned. Whether it's a quick out route or just a throw down the middle for an intermediate route, he will turn that shit into an extra 20. Using his balance of field vision, very quick footwork, along with his flexibility to adjust himself any way he needs to work around the defense, and really his strength to top it off just makes him a very hard receiver to stop when he's on the run. Like to me, a weakness of Burton's, if I had to point something out, would just have to be his route running, because it does scream to me it is somewhat limited because he's not exactly a deep threat as he should be. I think the scheme Missouri has him playing, they have him more like of a gadget or just a outside receiver or just someone who's going to run an intermediate route. I don't think they really have him doing a lot of man-to-man coverage. I think he definitely does not face enough coverage. I think the problem with him, I just think when he translates over to the next level, I think definitely he's someone's going to struggle when it comes to coverage against elite defenders and getting separation between them. And he's someone who seems he's going to struggle on contested catches. But apart from that, though, I really don't see a lot in his game. I think definitely a lot of that can be developed, and I do think he can learn all that down the line. So overall, Burton is a very solid playmaker who I wouldn't mind calling my wide receiver 1 someday. Give my quarterback an actual weapon. Like, look, give this guy an actual weapon. He's doing this with Brady fucking Cook. Brady Cook is not that great of a quarterback. He is above average, and he is doing these great catches. Give him an actual quarterback like Jaden Daniels. I'm telling you, he is going to do great things. His sophomore season mixed with his junior season really just showed me enough to show me he is someone who's going to get me yards off of any throw I just target him on. So depending whoever takes him, he'll either be the 1 or the 2 easily. I can really see him going late first to someone like Carolina, Washington. I told you, Jaden Daniels with him is a perfect pairing. Baltimore with Lamar Jackson, Pittsburgh, or even the Titans. God forbid he lands there. Please do not let him land on the Titans, but even the Titans, for example. Point is, wherever he goes, he's going to do great things. Wherever he's drafted, I have no doubt in my mind he'll be one of the best this class has to offer. Alright, now we get to T-Mac. In my my opinion, one of the best in the class. Matter of fact, the best in the class behind Travis Hunter. Let me start off by just saying this dude is one big son of a bitch. If you watch him, he is 6'5" and he wears his size pretty damn well. Let me just say, can this dude ball out? Like, this guy is a straight baller. If you watch him, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, wherever he goes, he's gonna make any GM that takes him look like a damn genius. Whether he's got double coverage on him, wide ass open, or just in traffic over the middle, he's gonna make that catch. If he's the target, he's coming away with it. I mean, some catches look easier than the other, but some of them just really make you jump out of your seat and go, damn, how did he do that? McMillan is normally an outside receiver since he's on the bigger side who can play slot or deep if needed. He'll run his routes with precise speed, create an opening for the quarterback just to hit him perfectly. He's got a lot of great tools that just make you love his game if you are a GM. His hands. Let's start off there. His hands are like made of magnets. At least what it looks like, or at least it looks like a vacuum just the way he just sucks the ball in. You ever seen something to suck balls that great? Pause. His route running, very solid. He's able to always create enough separation in most matchups to make the catch, whether it's a short or deep route. Like, he thrives off of these and has done this against great competition, not just beating up on bum secondaries. See, now with his game, there's really not a lot of flaws that I could draw or just at least look just from watching him. But I will say, definitely while being a large matchup in college against most defenders for his height, that is 6'5", he is undersized heavily going into the league at 215 pounds. Compared to some other players his height like Metcalf or Mike Evans who weigh 225 and higher. So durability and contact might be an issue with him in the league. But again, this is fixable. And I don't even think it really is a giant turnoff. I think honestly, there's nothing really about his game that makes you say, nah, I don't think I'm going to take him. I mean, because besides that, he's just a really unique prospect who's really probably one of the more polished receivers in the draft. And he's going to go top 10 because, I mean, after Hunter, the guy is the best the class has to offer. With a ceiling comparison to Mike Evans given by most scouting reports and profiles, and a floor comparison to Drake London, which I think is a little bit more fair of a comparison. Which, if you're going to say Drake London sucks, by the way, in the comments, look at him in college. I think that's probably a really good fair comparison. But based off those, that should really just tell you enough. I mean, T-Mac is going to go in the league with high expectations, and he's not going to disappoint. Which, in my opinion, is somewhere like New England, Carolina. I keep mentioning Carolina because they are in a actual good situation. I know in the draft video I said they are really not in a good situation. Well, things change in like the last 4 to 5, 6 weeks. So let me just say, Carolina is in a good situation. Get Bryce Young a star receiver. I'm telling you, he's already cooking now. Imagine him with another star besides Leggett. It's like he is going to cook. Or even Cincinnati, really, if they lose T. Higgins, like I'm hearing the rumors. I mean, I don't think they're going to re-sign him. I think he wants too big of a bag. So, I mean, if you lose Higgins and then you slide in McMillan, I don't really think it makes a difference. I think, if anything, it just makes the offense a lot better. McMillan's going to be an impact player wherever he lands, and I think, honestly, he's one of the best choices a team can make in the draft. Alright, now we move on to Trey Harris, the Robin to Jackson Dart's Batman. I mean, Harris to me is a very underrated slot receiver who's a red zone menace. Like, if you watch him anytime he's at a 10, you know damn well he's going to come away with a score. Not a lot of people could really see him going in the first. Personally, I could see him late. I could see him being a late round first pick. He packs a good frame of 6'3", 210 pounds with solid speed, being a very effective outside receiver who can always be found open in the middle or can be quite a solid deep threat option when he's able to outrun the defense. Not to mention, Trey Harris also has great ball tracking skills that allows him just really to know where the ball is at all times, especially when it's in flight, while he's on a route, and just knows perfectly when to adjust his body to make the catch. Now, for weaknesses, I could say his injury history. Even though he's not one to really have a giant injury history, he can be injury prone. But I'm really just gonna say he's not a Burton or T-Mac as far as being an explosive playmaker that will make, jaw-dropping plays or just make giant plays down the field almost every drive. And he does kind of lack an explosive burst speed in this game that the other prospects do contain. And my other thing with him is really just his route tree. I mean, it itself is something that is just limited and is predictable, which doesn't really present himself as a really consistent threat. But I don't think that's his fault. I think that's more of Ole Miss's the way they run their system, so I don't think that's really on him. But of course, I would still be a fool to pass on him. I mean, if I was a GM, I do think he's got plenty of tools that make for a very solid wide receiver 2 anywhere he's taken, especially if I was a team going into a rebuild with already a star wide receiver like the Jets. Dolphins, who seem really to have plans of just blowing it up, another year of failing once again. They're probably going to get rid of Tyreek, so I do think he'd be nice to have a wide receiver 2 right next to Jalen Waddle. Or even Vegas, I mean, to give either Sanders or Ward, depending on who they draft, give them a great wide receiver alongside Brock Bowers. I do think they're going to do great things. I'm telling you, behind the right team, Harris will not disappoint. Especially with the right offensive play calling, he is going to thrive and make his name something that will stand out for years to come. Alright, now we got Emeka Ibuka. I feel like I really just keep mispronouncing his last name, so if I am, fuck off. I'm not the greatest at pronouncing names. But anyways, Ibuka, I wanted him badly on my Chiefs. I really wanted him badly last year. I thought he was going to come out in the draft last year. He should have, but you know, I'm glad he stayed. I think he definitely developed a lot better this year, so I do think coming out already, he's looking a lot better and definitely be a more polished receiver. So he's been on my radar definitely for a great minute now. I mean, there's a lot to really just like about Ibuka's game. He's a very talented slot receiver that any system really just love to call their second option, which Emeka to me is a great inside receiver or just more or less a quick go-to guy. I mean, he's not someone who's always going to make the biggest plays down the field, but he's going to move the chains. The way he can run his route with perfectly precise movement to always get an opening for the quarterback to dish it out is something I would just love to see if I was a GM, and would also tell me a lot about his game, and that's that, well, Ibuka really tends to thrive off of option plays, and he's someone that's always going to be working in between the middle and just always there to be a quarterback's best choice. If the quarterback is pressure and the quarterback needs a set of reliable hands right in front of him to make really any throw, just get something off, Ibuka's going to be there to make the catch and get a lot of gain after. And with the experience of once being a punt returner, he's got excellent field vision to really find lanes that will help him get through traffic easily. Now, for the negatives, that would mainly just really have to be his injury history. I think for what the game provides, I don't think there's really a lot he can make improvements in. I think he can be developed further, but I don't think his game really has a lot of flaws. But his injury history to me is something that just stands out, because in 23, he missed a few games due to lower body issues involving his ankle, knee problems. So really him going up against elite competition, just elite defensive backs in the league, might be a challenge for him to step up towards. But overall, I think he's an amazing choice for wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. He's a player who is always going to be where the quarterback wants him to be, and that's a perfect thing if I'm a GM. Like, you know, someone who's always going to be there to bail my quarterback out if I fuck up or something, you know? So pairing him in an offense that already has a top established receiver like Washington with Terry, Tampa Bay with Evans, or Pittsburgh with Pickett, it would really just help give them the advantage. You cannot double team one of the guys and leave Ibuka open, because if Ibuka is open, he's going to go downfield, and he's going to make a big ass catch. He's someone who's capable of it. He doesn't do it often, but if he's open, he's going to make a big play. So with Ibuka, I do think he's a very low risk, high reward player. He's someone that's definitely going to change your offense a lot for the better, and I think honestly he's probably going to be one of the better wide receiver 2s coming out of the draft. Alright, now we have Isaiah Bond. Former Crimson Tide, now Longhorn. Isaiah Bond is someone who made noise in the offseason during the transfer portal, and he proves to be a top tier prospect. It reminds me, the more I watch him play at Texas, he does remind me somewhat of an Xavier Worthy, someone who could really just run about any route at a good level, whether it's deep, down the middle, or an inside route, or even a jet sweep. Bond could really just do it all. Even at Alabama, I noticed he was just like a chess piece. You can just throw him anywhere on the board and it works. And like Worthy, well, he's pretty fucking fast. I mean, if you watch a play, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, I'm talking track speed. Like, he could just kick it from 0 to 100 real quick. As soon as he gets the ball, he is out of there. On top of his speed and consistency to create great separation, he's a giant playmaker who makes very little mistakes in his game, with a recorded stat of 0 drops so far this season. I mean, he is a tough yards after catch player with the ability to read the field very well. His vision lets him just find open lanes or adjust his direction last second to help move the ball further down the field. Now, for Isaiah Bond's concerns, there's really not a ton that I have noticed. So I'm going to say, for what I saw, he seems to be pretty polished. He's a pretty polished wide receiver. He's going to fit in any system very well. I just think, really, it's just his size. I mean, if I really had to point something out, it's just his size. He's 5'11", not a bad height. It really is not. Burton's the same height, but the weight difference between the two is so damn large. See, Bond only weighs about 180 pounds to Burton's 210. Tending to raise questions really about if he could be durable enough at the next level when playing against pro-level defenses every week. I mean, I do think if Bond can withstand the durability and compete well against elite defenders at the next level, he'll easily be the next best thing. There's really not a lot in his way. Wherever you put Isaiah Bond, I do think he's going to excel at the next level. I think his game translates over very well, because like I said, you can really just plug the guy anywhere and it just works perfectly. If you need him to run jet sweeps all the game, he'll do that, and he'll do it at a damn good degree. I think like a lot of the other wide receivers, I'd really think it'd be hard to mess up with him. I don't think really there's a lot of failure with him. I think honestly he's someone that's going to succeed, and I do think he's a very underrated wide receiver going in this draft. I do think he'll serve as a perfect wide receiver too somewhere in the league, and I really don't think with Bond you could really go wrong. And to end off the list, we have another underrated receiver right here who will make noise in the second or early third, but can also sneak in the first and no one will bat an eye. That receiver I'm talking about is Xavier Restrepo. I think I said his name right. I feel like I am just going to butcher his name. I apologize in advance. So Xavier is the 6th Hurricanes receiver to go over 1,000 yards and is the all-time receptions holder over at Miami. That alone should tell you about how good he is. He played the perfect slot option for Cam Ward this year and previously with Van Dyke, showing he's someone who can be relied on heavily to make a catch, given a nickname Mr. Reliable. Like, when I tell you this kid is talented, I mean, like, seriously, Xavier can run crispy routes using raw technique, packed with great awareness and coverage around him, and showcase he's a massive yards after catch threat, whether it's a 10-yard throw or a 40. Because his sudden acceleration, which yes, is not as explosive as the other prospects, but it's good enough to help him create separation from the defender. To me, he is definitely one of the more consistent prospects who make plenty of difficult catches down the field with some of the best hands I've seen in this class. Like, if Belichick was still an NFL coach for the Patriots, 100% he would take Restrepo with no regard. Like, I mean, this guy is perfectly fit to his description. Small, packed with a lot of talent, and just has that attitude that's just gonna ball out. For weaknesses, unfortunately, yes, I know, as corny as this is gonna sound, I'm just gonna say it's his height, and of course his speed, because, again, he's only 5'10", but not the way you think. I'm not saying he's gonna fail because of his height. No, this kid's gonna do great things. It's just definitely gonna limit him in the game plan, however. Like, you will not find Restrepo running deep routes in the NFL like he would do at Miami, because, like, in the pros, he'll be going up against much tougher coverage and defensive backs who are either bigger than him or about the same size. And as I said, his speed is nothing explosive, but rather just quick acceleration, so I really am not going to be shocked when they don't have him running routes where he's facing tough coverage, because I do think, unlike the other prospects can at least have a chance of creating separation. I don't think he'll be able to create enough to get the catch, so I just think really he's going to be more limited down to a slot role, which to me is not that big of a deal, because he is still one hell of a slot receiver to have. If I was a team like the Broncos, who had their star quarterback, the Texans, who are desperately going to need a reliable receiver, I mean, their guys are held together by popsicle sticks and glue. The Saints, the Chargers, you get my point. I don't know why he isn't talked about more. I feel like down the line, this is going to be a guy scouts are going to regret not looking into more. And they're definitely going to see it once they see Restrepo get to work. Like, I'm high on a lot of these guys. I think all these guys are underrated, and I think all of them are going to turn out to be great wide receivers in the league. But just something about Restrepo's raw technique is something that just makes him stand out way more compared to the others. He most likely will not be a starter day one like some of the other prospects like a Burton or McMillan. You know, as soon as they land, they're going to be involved in the game plan. They're going to be more centered in the offensive scheme. I do think he's someone that's going to be lower down the depth chart and probably have to work his way up with the limited amount of opportunities he'll get in each game. But I feel it's not going to be long until he starts moving up the depth charts and shows teams that he has the potential to be a starter. I really hope the best for Xavier. He's a very fun receiver to watch. I mean, him and Cam Ward cooking together is a damn good combo. Him cooking with Van Dyke was something fun to watch. I mean, for what he does with his size, just blows your mind. I do think he's a very technical wide receiver. They're going to make a lot of teams happy, and I'm not going to be shocked one day if he's one of the better wide receivers to come out of this draft. Alright, and that will do it, ladies and gentlemen, for the wide receiver draft class video. Again, I just apologize in advance if the video seemed half-assed. I really did not have the time like I wanted, like I said in the intro. I tried my best, and these are the prospects that are going to go in the first and second round, so I really hope I did a good job of giving an explanation on them. If I didn't, oh well, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm just wrong. So, you know, I hope everyone enjoys that. If you want me to do a video separately on the guys going beyond, like, third and lower, I mean, there's a lot of great prospects that are just going into third round and lower. I have no problem doing that. Just let me know down below in the comments. And, yeah, I will see you all in the next random recap.